So I thought of an interesting idea for a video here. One of my favorite shows, and it's still one of my favorite shows whenever I'm watching TV, I look to see if it's on, but it's called Shark Tank. And I started watching that show when I was like, I think I was probably 13 or 14 at the time. I believe it's been around that long, but it's been a number of years that I've been watching that show now. And one of my favorite people on that show was always Mark Cuban, just because he's so truthful to people. He's not afraid to call someone out, and I've just always liked his personality. So I kind of wanted to do like a outline of his timeline as far as how he actually got rich. And if you guys like this idea, because it's one of my favorite shows, I would totally do that for all the other sharks that are on the show, as well as some of the other people who filter in there once in a while. But if you guys want me to do that, let me know. I could do a profile for all of the different sharks on Shark Tank, just to show you guys how they actually got rich. Because I think it's cool to study people who have become rich when you're trying to yourself eventually become rich, so you kind of see how they went about doing stuff, and you can see where their entrepreneurial mindset actually got started. But I'm sure if you've watched Shark Tank, you've heard the little jingle about Mark Cuban being a billionaire and the outspoken owner of the Dallas Mavericks. But other than that, what is he actually known for, and how did he become so freaking rich? Basically my question, and I'm going to answer that today. So Mark Cuban is worth an estimated $3 billion. Might be slightly higher than that, but I think I wrote it in the description. It might have been slightly higher, but that's just the figure that I could find on it. And that's just an estimated figure that's not completely accurate. But he's a billionaire for sure. So how did he actually get started as an entrepreneur? Well, when he was 12 years old, he sold garbage bags to save up for a pair of basketball shoes. That was his first business, actually, was going around selling garbage bags. And then at age 16, he took advantage of a newspaper strike. I think there was a strike somewhere near where he lived, and they were unable to deliver newspapers to his area because the workers were on strike. So he started driving to where they sold the newspapers, brought them back to his hometown, and then sold the newspapers himself. So he took advantage of that strike when he was 16 years old. Other than that, then we move on into the 1980s, into his college years. So he was in college studying business administration. And he actually taught disco lessons in college. I think he said that he got paid 25 bucks an hour to teach people disco lessons. I think a lot of them were actually girls he was teaching lessons to as well. So, I mean, not a bad thing to be doing in college. And this is also a little known fact, but he actually also started a chain letter in college. And I did a video about chain letters and pyramid schemes. If you guys are curious what that actually is, I'll link up to it at the end. But they're actually not even legal. So I wonder if he ever got in trouble. I don't know if he ever got in trouble for that chain letter, but he did mention somewhere that he actually had started a chain letter to pay for his tuition when he was in college. While he was in school studying business administration, he decided to buy a bar for $15,000 that was called Motley's. And at the time, this was unheard of. All of his professors basically said, this is something they've never seen before, somebody actually owning a business while in school full time. So this was something totally out of the ordinary for business students at the time. This bar actually became one of the most successful bars in the area. So that was like his first business, was actually a bar when he was in college. Then when he graduated college, he started his first computer company called Micro Solutions. And Micro Solutions was sold to a company called CompuServe in 1990 for $6 million. So that was his first significant business sale. He made $6 million off the sale of that business. And then he decided to retire. So in the 1990s, Mark retired to the party life, and he purchased a lifetime pass from American Airlines and decided to travel the world. I mean, why the hell not? I probably would do the same thing if I sold a company for $6 million. Probably would do the same thing. And then I think after a couple of years of doing that, he got bored, because I'm sure there's only so much traveling you can do before you're like, okay, I've seen everything in the world. I'm kind of tired of partying and drinking all the time. I got to do something else. So anyway, mid-1990s, he starts a sports broadcasting channel called AudioNet. And this was out of the desire to listen to the basketball games from his old college. He was always into basketball, as you can see, saving up for basketball shoes as a kid. And then he wanted to actually listen to the games from his school, and there was no way to do that. So he started AudioNet out of the need to listen to school basketball games. Well, AudioNet became Broadcast.com, which was one of the first internet radio sites. And at the peak of the dot-com bubble, the company went public, and this was in 1998. During the IPO of the stock, it went from $18 to $62.75 a share in one day. So it was a very successful IPO for that company. Anyways, shortly after that, Mark sold broadcast.com to Yahoo for $5.7 billion. And of that $5.7 billion, he ended up with $1.7 billion in Yahoo stock. However, he was smart, and he picked up on the actual .com bubble burst. He saw it coming because he saw the writing on the walls. So he actually sold his shares of Yahoo stock before that bubble burst to protect his wealth. So he wasn't actually heavily affected. I don't even think he was affected at all by the .com bubble burst. So he was smart enough to see the writing on the walls and say, hey, I don't want to be holding Yahoo stock. So Yahoo actually lost a ton on that deal with buying broadcast.com, but a lot of people lost a ton of money during that .com bubble burst. Mark was not one of them because he was smart. Anyways, then we get on to the 2000s. So at this point, Mark is a billionaire. He sold the company. He got $1.7 billion for the part that he owned of it, and then he liquidated his Yahoo stock that he got out of the deal. And at this point, he's a billionaire. So what do you do when you're a billionaire and you love basketball? Well, you buy a basketball team. So Mark became the majority owner of the Dallas Mavericks. He bought the ownership of them for $280 million. And at the time, they were the worst performing basketball team in the entire league. Well, due to his management, by 2011, the Mavericks were the NBA champions, and their team was worth $1.15 billion. So that was a really good investment on his part by getting involved with that team and turning them around and getting to the point where they're NBA champions. So that's quite amazing. He's also runs a company called 2929 Entertainment, which is a movie and TV show distribution company. I'm not sure if that's ever made him a ton of money, but it's something else that he does. He's also involved in some other stuff. I read somewhere that in the 2000s area he had a TV show. I don't remember what it was called, but it was a total flop. I think it was canceled even before the first season was finished because it was just terrible. It wasn't received very well. But Mark's had many different, business ventures. This isn't like an outline of every single one that he's done. This is just basically the ones that made him the majority of his money. So I didn't want to go through every business because, as you know, most successful people have a lot of successes and a lot of failures. So I just wanted to point out the major successes that he had that got him to where he is today and got him to have most of the wealth that he has. And then he's also known for, more recently, he's heavily invested in the stock market. So he's constantly investing in companies through the stock market. He does a lot of trading. And then he also is wildly known for now with his, when he shows up on Shark Tank, he's one of the sharks on Shark Tank, where he invests in but he invests in small businesses. Well, sometimes they even buy other business. They buy them right out, but they're investing in businesses through Shark Tank. And as of January 2016, he has made 82 deals on Shark Tank. So he's made a good amount of money just through that show alone as well. But that's pretty much how Mark went from selling garbage bags at age 12 to becoming a billionaire, investing in companies on Shark Tank and owning a basketball team. It's pretty fascinating. And seems like a lot of it came from just doing things that seemed kind of out of the ordinary. Like, it was unheard of to open a bar while you're in college. Not many kids were out selling garbage bags, so he always had that entrepreneurial mindset, and that's very interesting. But I just thought you guys might be curious about that. Like I said, if you guys want me to do, videos about how the other sharks or any other people got wealthy, drop their names in the comments, and I will try to get to those as well. But if you guys enjoyed the video, please drop a like and consider subscribing to be notified of future uploads. But I thank you guys for watching this video.